for the Flyers last night in Vancouver, a late one. They win at 6-3. Grunstrom gets another goal. He's got 4 in his last 4 games. Some cheeky goals, some nice goals. Grunstrom had a really nice shot on his goal. But overall, a nice win for the Flyers. They were getting outshot 10-0 in the beginning of the game. Vancouver had the first 10 shots on goal for the whole game, but the Flyers end up finishing strong. After that first period, they played a good game and they get the win 6-3. So the Flyers are now 2011 and 7, I believe now. We're going to pull up the standings right now. So if you guys don't mind, go to the YouTube and watch the stream, because that's where we're going to be pulling up all this stuff. You'll be able to see everything on there. You can't see it on TikTok, unfortunately. So if you guys want to go watch on there, that'd be great. But Cam York Lover 81, that's a great username. Let's go. But yeah, thank you everybody for liking the live stream so far. Really appreciate it. This is Broad Street Banter. This is the new name for the live stream. I'll be going live the day after every Flyers game, recapping the game for a little bit, talking to you guys, interacting with you guys, maybe inviting some of you to join the live stream if you want, and giving you guys a chance to share your own thoughts. So you're not just hearing my thoughts, but you're hearing other people's thoughts as well. So I thought that would be pretty cool. We're going to pull up the standings now on YouTube. So like I said, if you're on TikTok, go over to YouTube right now. Flyers right now are in third place, a point behind the Islanders for second. I'm gonna be honest here. I'm gonna pull up the standings first on YouTube so you guys can see the whole thing. Let me see. I'm just trying to figure this out right here real quick. Come on. Why isn't this working? Here we go. Okay. So we're taking a look at the standings right here. Thank you to the people watching on TikTok and YouTube. Mason says everyone has like 10 goals on our team, which is true for the most part. I know Couturier is definitely not there yet. He only had 1 goal in the month of December. What jersey should I get? Mason says. If they extend Zegras, I would go with Zegras. This jersey in the back, you can't see it on YouTube right now, but if you're watching on TikTok, you can. You can see the black jersey hanging up. That's my favorite Flyers jersey. So I would get that one with either Zegras or I like Noah Cates. Maybe Forster. Forster would be a good answer. We got a good amount of people watching here on TikTok, so thank you everyone. Like I said, if you want to head over to YouTube, we're showing the standings right now on YouTube on the stream, so if you want to check that out, it's greatly appreciated. But if you take a look at the standings, it's Carolina in first with 51 points, the Islanders in second with 48, the Flyers in third with 47. However, the Flyers have played 2 less games than the Islanders. They have 2 games in hand. The Islanders have played 40 games, the Flyers have played 38, and we're only a point behind them. So, if the Flyers can get 2 points in those 2 games they can make up, they would jump into second, which would guarantee them home ice for the first round of the playoffs. Now, long ways to go. Long ways to go. We are in December, almost January. We're about to begin 2026, so still plenty of time to drop in the standings or go up in the standings. Now, the Flyers are only 4 points out of first, but then again, they're only 7 points ahead of the Blue Jackets for last in the division. This division is so stacked that everybody in the division is currently above 500. Unbelievable stuff. You got the Blue Jackets at 40 points. You've got the Devils with 42, who were red hot to start the season, were in first place by 7 or 8 points above everybody, and now they're in 7th in the division, which they're not bad. They're 20-17-2. That's not bad at all. That's good. But in the Metro this year, it's a bloodbath. You got to be better than that if you want to make the playoffs. Now we've got that team from New York, which, oh, you put a heart on my head, Dylan. How nice. Dylan sent a rose. You guys on YouTube can't see it, but on TikTok you can. That team from New York has 43 points. Still pissed we blew that game against them. The Penguins have 43 as well. The Capitals have 45, and then there's the Flyers with 47 in third place. So, we play tonight. The Flyers could The Flyers could be in second place after tonight. I don't know if the Capitals. Oh, the Capitals do play. They're playing that team from New York right now. Actually, I should turn that game on. Honestly, yeah, I know that game started at 12:30, so it's probably like first intermission that game or close to it, if not already. But yeah, I mean, the standings couldn't be much closer, guys. They really couldn't be much closer. Um, I personally, I'm a little worried about, you know, a losing streak because they seem to have it every year. There we go. They seem to have a losing streak every single year that's like more than 5 games, sometimes even more than 10, which I don't think this team would do that because I think this team's much better than any Flyers team from the last half decade. However, we saw it happen 2 years ago where the Flyers were in second place this time of year or right before Christmas, and they ended up missing the playoffs entirely. Especially now with how close the standings are, especially in our division. Anything could happen. We could come in first place in this division. We could come in 8th. That's how close it is. So, thanks for thanks for the roses, Dylan. Can't believe I'm saying that. What's going on, everybody? I recognize some of you. You guys have been following me for a long time when I make Flyers content. So, shout out to you guys. If you guys want to watch on YouTube, I would greatly appreciate it. Let's see if there's anybody in the chat on YouTube. I know there's people in the chat on TikTok. I just got to double check, make sure I'm not missing anything. But yeah, if you guys have any questions or any hot takes or any points you want to make about the game last night against the Canucks, feel free. This is an open chat. You can say whatever the heck you want. Doesn't mean I have to answer it if it's whatever it is, but I'm sure I will answer every single question or any statement that you guys make. We got a few people on YouTube, few people on TikTok. Thank you, everybody, for tuning into Broad Street Banter today. Safe place to say, let's go Bruins. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You know, I actually, Becca, I actually know a guy that was a Flyers fan and switched to a Bruins fan. I don't know if you know him, but yeah, bad job. He's not my friend anymore. I cut him off completely. Yeah. That's a good response from D-Law right there. But yeah, big win for the Flyers last night, 6-3 your final. Like I said earlier, Grunstrom 4 goals in his last 4 games. I'm really happy with the way this team is playing. I'm just, like I said, I think it's safe to say that we can be a little worried just because the standings are so close. We do have 3 games in hand on that team from New York. We have played the same amount of games as the Penguins, a game in hand on the Capitals, and we're 2 points ahead of them. So Capitals play that team from New York right now. Obviously, I'll never root for the team from New York. So I do want the Capitals to win, even though it doesn't really matter because they're both a little bit behind us. It doesn't really matter. They're both in our division. It's so close. But nobody ever thought the Flyers would even be here. It's true. I'm not going to try to sound like a know-it-all because I'm not, and I'm not saying I called it. I didn't think the Flyers would be a point out of second place. However, I predicted the Flyers to make the playoffs this year. So that prediction is looking pretty good. I don't know if you guys would agree with me on that, but I did predict them to make the playoffs towards the end of last year. I said they're going to make the playoffs this year. I think they're going to go out because they had money to spend. Danny Briere was clearly making it obvious that he was going to go out and do something, and he did by getting Trevor Zegras, and we gave up nothing. We gave up Ryan Poehling. We didn't have to give up a first-round pick for Trevor Zegras. So, I mean, you can't really complain about that. And Trevor Zegras is the best player on the team. I don't think that's ridiculous to say. I think Trevor Zegras is the best player on the Philadelphia Flyers right now. Becca says, who's winning the Cup this year? The Flyers, obviously. No, if I can't say the Flyers, because I've said the Flyers are going to win the Cup every year since I was 4. If I can't say the Flyers, I want to lean towards Colorado, but I think to be the team, you got to beat the team, and right now the team is the Florida Panthers. I know you specifically are not going to like that answer, but Johnny says love the vids. Thank you very much. Thank you so much, Johnny. Konechny been insane? I don't know if I'd agree with that. he's got to step it up. He had a very good game last night. Michkov played a very good game last night. One of the best of the year so far for him. Even though he didn't score, he still played a very good game. He was hustling. Actually got some ice time. Um, but back to the comment that Becca said, who's winning the cup this year? I think we have to pick the Panthers until they don't. You know what I mean? I used to say that with the Patriots in football. Like, you kind of have to pick them until they don't win, until they prove that they can't win anymore. So I'm gonna take the Panthers to three-peat. And if they don't, then I'm not gonna look like an idiot because they won the last 2 years. You should start that pod. That's what this is. It's on YouTube right now, Broad Street Banter. We're gonna be going live after every Flyers game. We're gonna have an episode the day after. So that's what this is. If anyone's gonna beat the Panthers, it'll be Colorado. They're buzzing. I was gonna say Colorado. That was actually what I was going to say. But then I remember the Panthers haven't lost a playoff series outside the Stanley Cup in 3 or 4 years, whatever it is. So, yeah, I mean, I'm going to take the Panthers. But, hey, don't count out the Flyers. Just saying. Do I think the Flyers are going to go all the way realistically? I don't know. I mean, it's not like, they're clearly the best, by far the best team in the league right now, jokes aside. They got to wear those black jerseys you got on your wall again. Dude, this is my favorite Flyers jersey of all time. We were just saying that before. I really want to get a name on the back. Who should I get? There's no name on the back. I'm thinking my favorite Flyer, Zach Ronaldo. Flyers are a scary underdog team in the playoffs. I would agree. I mean, obviously it's easy for us to sit here and say this kind of stuff about the Flyers, but they look like a contender right now. They do. Now, sometimes they don't, but you play 82 games in a season. You're not going to look like the best team in hockey for all 3 periods of all 82 games. Pronger on the back of the jersey. Being a huge Flyers fan, I think making the playoffs is a win. I would have to agree. I know a lot of Philadelphia sports fans. I know this is the only Philly team I root for, but I know a lot of Philadelphia sports fans say it's depending on what sport it is, it's Stanley Cup or bust, Super Bowl or bust, World Series or bust, whatever. The position the Flyers are in right now, I would agree and say that it's not ridiculous to say, I don't want to say it's a successful season if they get bounced in the first round, but I wouldn't call it a failure if the Flyers make the playoffs and they lose in like 6 games in the first round to like the Hurricanes or the Capitals, something like that. I wouldn't call it a failure. I would say it's a step in the right direction, which is what they desperately need. The last few years, they've been taking steps in the wrong direction. We kind of knew this was coming 2021, 2022 when the Flyers were way, way, way below average in the NHL, and they were just, let's just be real. Let's not sugarcoat it. They were terrible. They sucked. 2021 to 2023, they sucked. Let's be real. After they traded Giroux, even before they traded Giroux, the year they traded him at the deadline, we were terrible. When we traded Voracek for Cam Atkinson, not that it was Cam Atkinson's fault, but he got hurt. Coots was hurt for like 2 years. The team was terrible, and there was no bright spots on the team at all. We draft Michkov. We have that year 2 years ago where we thought we were going to make the playoffs, and it didn't happen. They fell apart. This is the year where they take the step in the right direction, because 2 years ago we were like, okay, even though we didn't make the playoffs, it's a step in the right direction. They're above 500. They almost made the playoffs, which is something we hadn't been able to say in 3 or 4 years at that point. Now we go to next year and they take a step in the wrong direction, and everybody's giving them excuses, saying, "Hey, they're rebuilding. It's okay if they lose. It's okay if they get a top 5 pick." To me, it wasn't, because you go from almost making the playoffs to almost coming in last place in the league. I don't care if you're rebuilding. That's a step in the wrong direction. Last year, this is a hot take. I would have rather, at the time, I would have rather had a decent season, finish above 500 and miss the playoffs, than have a terrible year and have a top 5 pick. That's my hot take, because it would have been a step in the right direction. But now I take it back because they're good anyways this year. And I think they're a playoff team this year. Let me read the chat. I got to check up with you guys. I was going on a little bit of a rant. Gagne on the jersey would be sick. Giroux would be sick. Can't have a losing streak again, though. Other than that, staying healthy is key. Couldn't agree more with you, Ryan. It's an improvement from what it's been. That's absolutely correct, Becca. They need to make it 100%. I love how the Flyers defense is improving week over week. I agree. In the beginning of the year, it was tough because there's several guys that just don't do that much. I'm a big Emil Andre guy, so you'll never hear me hate on him. I have mixed feelings about Jamie Drysdale. I'm so glad Ristolainen's back. That helped our defense, of course, because he had been out for a million years, it felt like. We need playoff hockey in Philly. Hard to stay loyal. It's not hard to stay loyal if you're, you know, if you've been a fan of the team for forever. I've been a fan since '09, since I was 4 years old, so I'll never switch up. But I get what you're saying. Zamula sucked. Zamula's just he's he's not that good. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and defend the guy or critique him. We know what he is, you know, capable of, and it's not the same at what like Emil Andre is capable of, or even Murchison when they called him up. Penguins and Rangers genuinely bottom five teams in the league. Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. Probably bottom two, honestly. Hot take: no playoffs this year is not a bust of a season. Going into the year, I might agree with that. Right now, I disagree because if we're a point out of second place in the division, a point away from being home for the first round of the playoffs, now if we miss the playoffs entirely, that is a bust. So I would have to disagree with that. Bottom five Penguins, but we can't beat them. We've only played them, what, once this year? And they beat us? I know they beat us. Oh no, we played them twice. We beat them in the shootout, and then they beat us. So we're 1-1 against them. I wouldn't say we can't beat them. Growing up, when I was little, they couldn't beat us. I mean, you remember that 2012 playoff series against them? The crowd literally chanting "You can't beat us" was insane. So they're not getting rid of Michkov anytime soon. Who said we're getting rid of Michkov? Whoa. Oh, Anthony, that's a nice comment. I got a Michkov jersey for Christmas, and they're talking about getting rid of him. Where are they talking about getting rid of Michkov? That's the last guy on the team they're going to get rid of. Grunstrom has been a huge bright spot. Absolutely. 4 goals in his last 4 games. That was a great trade from Danny B. At least it's looking like it so far. Sorry, I wasn't talking about you, Anthony, that commented that. There was another Anthony that commented something else that was not nice. So, that wasn't directed towards you. That was directed towards somebody else, I promise. Do I like Coots as captain? I do. I've always loved Coots. He's been on the team. He might break the record for the most seasons or most games played as a Flyer. Or at least most seasons, not most games played because he was hurt for a while. But I mean, we know what Coots is capable of at this point in his career. After that back injury he had, he's a whole lot slower. We know that, right? I wouldn't mind them making a move at the deadline to get like a veteran center, because that's what Coots is, right? But really all he's good for now is faceoffs and sitting in front of the net and burying the garbage when it gets there. Which it's not like he's amazing at it. No offense to Coots, I love Couturier, but I don't think that he's the greatest option. You know what I mean? Now, if we traded for someone at the deadline, like, I don't know, some veteran center towards the end of his career that could help us in a playoff push, it's not like Coots is going to get stripped of the sea, obviously. So, I like Coots as captain. Is he the best player on the team just because he's the captain? Of course not. But I think Zegras will have a letter on his jersey soon, whether it's a C or an A. I think Konechny will probably be the next captain. And then when Coots is gone, in however many years that is, Konechny the captain, Sanheim and Zegras as assistant captains. I think that would make the most sense. You guys can agree or disagree with me in the comments. I'm late. Who are we talking about? We're talking about Sean Couturier being the captain of the Flyers. I want to lose Tippett. Whoa. Yeah, I think he's the only guy safe right now. If they trade anyone, I think it's going to be Tippett. I don't think they're going to move anybody unless they're because if they're in this kind of position come the deadline in early March, late February, when whatever the trade deadline is, they're not going to do what they've been doing the last 5 years, guys. They're not going to be they're not going to be. Joe says no, not Tippett, my favorite player. What's going on? How you doing? I know you've been following me for forever. Anyways, I don't think they trade those guys unless it's a trade where they upgrade because if they're going to try to make the playoffs this year, which is obviously what they're doing, they're third in the division right now, almost second if they win tonight probably. They're not going to be doing what they've been doing the last few years with Scott Lawton or when they tried to trade JVR at the deadline but couldn't get a deal done or the Giroux trade where they got Tippett and picks. They're not going to be doing that, obviously. This is a team that wants to make the playoffs and they're hungry for playoff hockey in the city of Philadelphia. This isn't going to be, okay, we're going to trade Tippett for a few firsts or a first or whatever, or we're going to trade oh, no, I don't want to lose Tippett. I just think his name's thrown around too much. I would agree with that. I would agree with that. I miss Morgan Frost. I do too. He was my favorite player for a little bit, and then of course they traded him. They always trade my favorite players, always. So I've decided to not pick a favorite player. Um, Wait until these young kids come up. Martel and Luchenko naming just two. I would love for them to get Luchenko up sooner and just put him on the fourth line because our fourth line is horrendous, honestly. Yeah, I know Grunstrom, when he's on the fourth line, it's different. But Hathaway has not done anything all year. Delorier hasn't done anything all year. And I know those guys aren't supposed to be, 30 goal scorers. I get that. Not even 20, 15 goal scorers. I get that. But something. Garnett has 0 points. Like, you guys get what I'm getting at. Rodrigo Abels, nothing. Like, these guys are not, I don't think they're NHL caliber players right now. I mean, maybe Hathaway just because he has the experience, but like Rodrigo Abels should not be a top four center on the team, right? Danny won't make any more moves for picks. He'd make moves for current gamers who can contribute. I 100% agree. I know there was a rumor about Stamkos, and I made a post about it on TikTok. Oh my gosh, I got torn apart. Everyone was like, we're not getting Stamkos. We don't want him. I would love him. In the video, I said we might have to give up a first. I retract that statement. We would not have to give up that much for him, especially with the way the Predators have been the last few years. I know we don't need Stamkos, but it would be nice to have him. It would be nice, especially on the power play. That would help the power play so much you guys have no idea. I know he's older. I know he's past his prime, but he's still a very good player. He'd still be one of the best players on the team. And as long as we don't have to give up too much for him, why not? Why not? Now I know I might be jumping the gun because I want the Flyers to win now rather than win in a few years. But I'm impatient because I've been a Flyers fan for 15 years. I still haven't seen them win a cup, so I'm getting impatient. I get that, but I wouldn't have a problem with a guy like Stamkos. I wouldn't. I really wouldn't. I don't think that's ridiculous to say. Stamkos can still play and would be a great veteran to teach the kids. He has the playoff experience. Exactly. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Great point, Anthony. That's a great point. I'm not giving up picks for Stamkos. We don't have to give up picks. We don't have to give up picks. And if we are going to give up picks, it's not like it's going to be first round picks. We can give up a third or a fourth and somebody else and package them for Stamkos. There's nothing wrong with that. There's no way I'm giving first for Stamkos. I wouldn't either, Kyle. I wouldn't. I agree. But we aren't close to winning a cup, so Stamkos isn't a smart move. He doesn't have 5 to 10 years left. I I get your argument saying they're not close to winning a cup, but if you're second place in your division, why not? Why can't you try to go all in for a year and win the cup? Why not? I know they're trying to be patient, and I'm not saying going all in is the wrong phrase to use. Have a great day, everyone. Happy New Year. Thank you, Anthony. Happy New Year. Um, what was I saying? Going all in is the wrong phrase to use. I would say more trying, like being buyers at the deadline instead of sellers. You know what I mean? I don't have a problem with going out and getting a guy like Stamkos and having him be our second line center or first line or whatever. You know, I have no problem with that. Then you got to remember we have room for Martone. That's fine. We have plenty of room for Martone. That's not a problem at all. Avs are a playoff caliber team. We are getting points in gritty games. There's a difference. Avs beat us by 1 goal a few weeks ago. I'm not saying we're as good as the Avalanche. I'm not saying we're on the same tier as the Avalanche. I'm not saying we're a Stanley Cup contender. But my point is to defend the Flyers because I always will. I'm a Flyers fan. Last year, the Panthers were third in their division and they won the Cup. We're third in our division right now. Now, are we as good as last year's Panthers? Of course not. That's not the point I'm trying to make. My point is there's no reason why if you go into the playoffs a few points out of first place that you can't try to make a deep playoff push, you know? Will they? Completely different story. I have no idea. We'd have to find out. But it is exciting that we get to talk about this kind of stuff at this point in the season because we haven't been able to do this for years now. Unless you count 2 years ago when they were like this, but then they fell apart. What's your YouTube? JT Sports Network. Exactly. Joe agrees with me. One of my biggest fans agrees with me. Got to remember we were in this position 2 years ago. I know. I just made that point. I'm saying I think it's going to be different. I think they're going to make the playoffs. I think they're going to make to at least the second round. That's my take. Everything can fall down. I agree. If they go on one losing streak, they could be in last place. But will they go on a losing streak? I don't know. You got to keep in mind, if we make the playoffs and Forster's back, we're only going to get a little better. Rather than not getting better, you know? We need Forster. I agree, Kyle. I 100% agree. I think he's one of the best players on the team. I think Forster has one of the highest upsides on the league, on the team. I really do. So, I don't know. I would say Forster's a top 4 player on the team. Zegras, Konechny, Michkov, Forster. Or at least top 4 forward. Sanheim's got to be in there as well. But what are your guys' thoughts on Konechny right now and Michkov? They both had a very good game last night, so it's hard to criticize. But how do we feel about them? Because I have not been satisfied with the way those two have been playing all year, and if they had been playing to the best of their ability, I think we'd be in first place. He's not going to play in playoffs unless we have deep run, which we both know is not going to happen. Whoa, 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 whoa. Why not? Why not? Why not us? A little ghostly? I agree. I'm not loving what I'm seeing out of Konechny and Michkov so far this year. Now, Michkov's second year in the league, still very young. He's like the same age as me. Give him time. You know, I don't expect him to go score 70 goals this year. That's not what I'm asking for. But I wanted to see Michkov score at least 30 this year. I did. I know he's more of a playmaker, but he led the team in goals last year. Why can't he score 30 this year? Instead, he shows up to training camp out of shape, and now we're seeing him get limited ice time in certain games because of it. That can't happen. That's inexcusable. Pittner says, bro, look at the 2010 season when they were the last seed and made it to the Cup. Anything can happen. Exactly. That was last time the Flyers made the Cup. They were the 7th seed. And they came back down 3-0 against the Bruins in round 2, down 3-0 in game 7 as well in that series. And they made it to the Cup. If they win that game in overtime, game 6, you go to a game 7 of the Cup, winner take all, and you never know what could happen. The Flyers could have won the Stanley Cup that year as the 7th seed. Why can't we do it as the 2 or 3 seed in the Metro? Now, look, I'm as biased as it gets. I'll admit it. I'm a diehard Flyers fan. I have been since I was 4 years old. I love nothing more than the Philadelphia Flyers. But I do think this team is a little special. I do. We don't talk about 2010 Game 6 around here. I'm sorry. That's my fault. My fault. Let's see. I got to scroll up a little bit. TK is good. A little bit of a slump. Michkov is great. Still adapting to new coach and the team. It's a solid take, Johnny. I like it. I agree with both. I don't know what's going on with TK. I think it's obvious what's going on with Michkov. Yeah. Dude, we're not making the Eastern Conference Finals. Why not? I'm not saying we are. I'm not saying we are. But why can't we? If you come second in the division, why can't you make the Eastern Conference Finals? You get home ice for the first round. Let's say you win that round. Then you pull off an upset in round two. Why can't you make the Eastern Conference Finals? Why not? I love Zegras. Me too. Me too. He's the best player on the team. Are you going to watch the Philadelphia Flyers game today? Of course. 9:30. Who do we play? Los Angeles? No, Calgary. I'm sorry. I knew it was a Western team. Then I will be at the game January 6th, the Cutter Gauthier game. And I will let you guys know what section I'm sitting in if you guys want to say what's up. Because a lot of you have been wanting to meet me. I'm not acting like I'm some sort of celebrity because I'm not, but also real quick, the Rams banner has to go. Whoa, 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 whoa. Chill on my Rams. Would you rather get Stamkos or bring back G? Giroux. Drew's quietly having a really good career in Ottawa. I am Mites on Ice January 8th. That's sick, dude. That's awesome. Bring back G. What jersey you rock right now? It's just number 8. It has no name on it. It's actually my dad's. So it could either be Recchi or Dave Schultz, I would say. Because it's like the old jersey. So probably Mark Recchi because that's the era of the jerseys that they wore, you know? I'm going to 8th. You should go then too. Who do they play the 8th? I could probably go to that. The Leafs? I'm going the 6th. Because for Christmas I got money towards tickets to any game I want, and I'm picking that game because I did the same thing last year when we played the Ducks. So I'm going with one of my friends, and then one of my other friends who's a Ducks fan might go with us too. Maybe I'll go the 8th. Why not? Then we play the Lightning twice in a row, both in Philly. Why? That's so stupid. You guys realize that? We're away against Calgary, away against Edmonton, then we're home against Anaheim, home against Toronto, home against Tampa, and then we're home against Tampa 2 days later again. That makes no sense. And then January 17th, we play that team from New York. Yeah. At home. Then we play that team from New York again February 26th in the world's most overrated arena, and we play them again at home March 9th. We got to win all 3 if we want to win the season series. I got the Santa sack for the Leafs. I wish I could go to the Ducks game. That's sick. Biz is in between the benches, the 13th up there. Can't wait for that. Going to the Rangers game on the 17th with my dirty Rangers fan brother. Oh, good luck. I can't go to a Rangers Flyers game because I would like lose my mind. I get so nervous during those games because I just have so much hatred in my heart for the Rangers. Like, it's not even funny. Like, I can't stomach watching that team. Like, my friends are like, dude, let's go to the Garden and see Flyers Rangers when they're there in New York. I'm like, no. You think I want to be surrounded by 18,000 idiots wearing Rangers jerseys? I would end up punching someone in the face. Sorry, TikTok, don't ban me. Don't ban me. But, come on. No. One word out of someone wearing a Rangers jersey? No. Not going to happen. No. We should have beat the Rangers if it wasn't for Ersson playing like garbage. I 100% agree. But they also, that game, and they do it every time they have a lead in the third period, they sit back and they play conservative. Keep applying pressure like you were the whole game and outplaying them and put up more goals instead of sitting back and just letting them have scoring chances. That's what happened. But Ersson also couldn't stop a beach ball that game. So I would like to see them upgrade from Ersson and have Ladar and somebody else at the deadline. I got the Santa sack. LA Kings on the 31st. Got a Zegras signed stick and a Forster signed puck. That's awesome. That is sick. I always see the ads for that, even since I was like a little kid. They show it on the games, but I've never gotten one. The Flyers, this is what I think. I think sometimes they'll rush teams like when they rush the Sharks. What do you mean? They rush the Sharks. Found the YouTube dropped a sub. Thank you, Johnny. I appreciate it, bro. Go Flyers. Means a lot. Yeah, if you guys can go subscribe to my YouTube, it's the JT Sports Network. I have Broad Street Banter. That's what this is. The first episode, I wanted to go live on TikTok as well because that's where most of my Flyers following is. So I wanted you guys to see it. But if you guys could go subscribe and check that out every day after a game, I'm going to be live talking about the Flyers like this. So if you want to do me a favor and follow, that'd be great. Would you rather have Airson or Kolosov backing up? Definitely Airson. Look up JTSN Flyers. It pops up. Thank you, Johnny. What a legend. What a legend. Let's go. JTSN Flyers. Yeah, go look that up on YouTube, and you'll find it. I'm live right now on there, so that's awesome. Go Birds. No. No, 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 no. Amber, no. No, no, no. Go Rams. Are you going to watch the Flyers game today? Of course. I'm going to be going to my friend's house tonight to hang out for New Year's, but I will be demanding the Flyers game has to be on, or I'm leaving, or I'm out of there. I'm out. The game's at 9:30, I think it is. Let me double check. Eastern time, at least. Yeah, 9:30 p.m. Eastern time. All right. I want to look at the standings. Since when are the Red Wings in first? The Sabres are on a roll, by the way. The standings are so close. Oh my gosh. Every team in the Eastern Conference is above 500. The Red Wings have been in first place since before Christmas break. Maybe I did know that. Maybe I did know that. That seems familiar now. I knew they were good. I didn't realize they were in first. I thought Montreal was still. But Montreal's only a point behind them, so. You see the Ryan Hartman rumors, and how do you feel about it? It depends what we give up. I mean, I think, who was it? Tippett was in the mix in the rumors. I think it was Tippett. I don't know how I'd feel about that, but I'm fine with them taking a risk. I trust Danny B way more than I trusted Chuck Fletcher when he would take a risk every 2 seconds and just never worked. If the Flyers trade for Tage Thompson, who would you send or what would you send? That's a good question. That's a really good question. He would fit in our team really well. I'd give up a few picks, not all firsts, a few picks. And I wouldn't mind throwing a guy like Tippett in there. I'm not going to lie. I know it's kind of a lot, but Tippett sometimes to me does like a little too much. I don't know if that's just me. Is that just me? Is that just me that thinks that? I checked the chat on YouTube, by the way. Oops. Doesn't look like I missed much. It's all on TikTok. Fastest straight line skater in the league. Tippett needs to simplify his game and shoot more. I 100% agree, Joe. 100% agree. Couldn't agree more. Bo Nix joined. Oh my gosh, Bo Nix. Bo Nix, it's the real Bo Nix. Oh my gosh. Can I have an autograph? Evan says no. I don't know what he's saying no to, but Evan said no. And he said it twice. I'd send Tippett and a third. I would 100% do that for Tage Thompson. 100%. I'd even make it a second instead of a third. Oh, Brink was in the rumors for Hartman, not Tippett. You're right. You're right. You're right. Yeah. Yeah. So Flyers, Flames tonight, 9:30. I need everybody's score prediction right now. I'm gonna actually I'll make a video on this TikTok account saying comment your score predictions. I'll post it on YouTube Shorts too on my account. Comment your score predictions for Flyers Flames. And if anybody guesses the score exactly correctly, maybe we'll do a little surprise for somebody. Maybe we'll do like a little giveaway or something. I don't know. It could be fun. Bummed of Vladar isn't playing against the Flames. I didn't think about that. That's true. Dang. Hmm. I don't like that. That stinks. That really stinks. Think about that. Vladar played like against all the good teams for the Flames last year, and that's why his stats weren't as good as Wolves. I really like Vladar. The Flames beat us last time 2-1. Is that true? Have we played them yet this year? Or are you talking about last year? I don't remember. Yes, you were there? Okay. Okay. Why do I not remember that? For some reason, I remember us beating the Flames 2-1. Second Flyers game I ever went to in like 2014. I don't know how I remember that, but I do. I have a log in my phone of all the games I've ever been to. I need to update it because I've been to like 4 this year. I don't think I've updated it this year. So I got to lock in. Definitely got to lock in. But people are saying they were there this year, so I guess it did happen this year. Let me look at the Flyers schedule. I don't remember them playing the Flames at all. This must have been early in the season. So I don't remember that. Oh, they lost 2-1 November 2nd. Okay. Oh, I think I remember this game. Oh, and then the next game they played the Canadians when they're up 3-0 and blew the lead, but then won in a shootout. I remember this. Yes. Okay. You guys have refreshed my mind. Good job, guys. Early November Sunday night game. That is correct. Oh, I was probably going back between that and the Rams. That's probably why I don't remember it that well. There we go. Good job, guys. We got some puck knowers in here. Yeah, Flyers Flames tonight. Any last thoughts before I wrap this up? Once again, guys, if you could subscribe to the YouTube, it's just look up JTSN or JT Sports Network. I would greatly appreciate it. After every Flyers game, the day after every Flyers game, we're going to be going live like this. So if you guys could subscribe and watch on there for a better experience, because I like to share my screen and show the standings and stuff. Can't do that on TikTok here because it's just on my phone. Just subscribe. Thank you so much. You guys are the best. But yeah, if everyone could subscribe, I would greatly appreciate it. I think we're a little over 100 now. Let me check. How many subscribers do we have? Like a little over 100. It's a new channel. 109. So we gained a few today. So thank you so much, everybody. Any last questions before we wrap this up? Any thoughts about last night's game or tonight's game? Anybody on YouTube or TikTok? Packer joined. What's up, dude? Go Birds. No, Snow. No. Can we just agree to like the Flyers? I don't want to hear about the Eagles right now. I don't need to hear about that. What's up, Packer? How you doing? Who do you think will win? Who do you think would win, Nathan McKinnon or Connor McDavid in a 1v1? That's a good question. That's a fun question. I'm gonna go Connor McDavid because I think he's the best player on the planet. I'll go Connor McDavid. Go Flyers. Winning is fun. Couldn't agree more. Go Flyers. How many likes do you have on the live? 1.4K. McKinnon, no doubt. Whoa. We're really disrespecting McDavid like that. That's crazy. That is crazy. Wow. Now we have 2.3K likes on the live. Wow, let's go. Thank you, guys. That's awesome. And if you guys aren't following, if you could follow, that'd be great. I think everyone that's watching is following, but still. It would be great if you guys could follow. Trying to grow this account on TikTok and subscribe to the YouTube, of course. So thank you guys so much. Greatly appreciate it. God bless. Everyone have a great and healthy Happy New Year. Go Flyers. And we